Yeah. I'm in the middle of lunch. Got me a little drink. But I wanted to come to you guys and tell y'all how my experience was with going to do my practical. Yes, I did pass, but listen, I had to drive. Well, my dad actually came and picked me up and drive me because he said he didn't want me to drive by myself. But I drove about an hour and 45 minutes away to go to the testing center. And you might hear my baby outside the door. He's supposed to be sitting out eating his food, and he's trying to come here at the same time. Hopefully, I don't run out of time on this phone. But, okay, so back to it. Of course, I took my theory on the 3rd, passed that, and I was able to take my practical 12 days later, which was the soonest date they had available for me to go take my practical. So I went. We drove an hour and 45 minutes away to the building. And when I got there, I was excited, happy. We stopped at Burger King because my test was at 12:30, but my dad was hungry. So I was like, no, I don't even want to eat. I don't want anything. So I just went ahead and told him to grab something. So we was across from the testing site. So we went to Burger King across the street. And he ate and I sat in there, and I think I got a clip. If I'm able, I do have a clip, but if I'm able to put it in here, I will put it in here. But of me in the Burger King reading over the rubric of everything that's going to be on the test. So I was super hyped. I was like, okay, I got it. Finally, it's like 11:50, 11:45. We go up to there because my test starts at 12:30. They're supposed to be there at 12. So we get there. There's other people still in there, so we were waiting outside of the suite, waiting. And of course, my dad brings my whole kit up, and then he leaves when the lady says she's about to start calling us in. So it was 7 of us going in at our time, but the ladies who were leaving out, it was 10 of them. So for the earlier tests, it was 10 of them leaving. So we had to wait for them to leave. So finally, when they finally left, they started telling us, take your 2 forms of ID out and take out your practice, take out your hand that you're going to be using before we can even walk in the door. So this was the nicest lady at the door. And this is before you walk in the door. She's smiling, speaking to us, everything. All right. So once she looks at your ID, looks at your practice hand, asks for of course, what's your name, and you confirm your name. She looks at your ID, look at the hand, make sure the hand is fine. She tells you walk in. When you walk in, there's no more ha ha ha. How you doing? Hey. The people at the desk, they're barely speaking to you. They're telling you, stand right here. What's your expiration date on your ID? What's your last name? You tell them this information. They're putting it in the system. Another one is writing something down, and she hands you the paper, tells you to sign those 2 spots. Barely looks at you. Barely look at you. Other one is they're communicating together about you. Other one tell you, stand on the dot to take your picture. Takes your picture. She gives you the little sticky tab on your ID. Tells you walk to the door where the practical is going to take place. So we get in there. So I get to that door. A lady meets me and she walks me to my table. And at first, they did not have the nail tech set up. They had it for aesthetics set up. And they was like, oh, I guess it was a mix up. So that was the only time, and I was the only person that they actually spoke to, because I thought they were talking to each other because they weren't talking to us. So, and the lady was like, excuse me. And I was like, and I looked back and she was like, y'all are nail tech? Y'all doing nail technology? I was like, yes, ma'am. And so that's the only time. And she started talking to the rest of them, and, she went and got the chairs, and she said, oh, I apologize. And they set up the chairs for us to sit down. But that was the only other time. Other than that, radio silence. Like, they barely was giving us eye contact. Like, nothing. So we sat there, and at that time, it was 4 of them in the room. So they had the number on our little sticky tab they gave us. They gave us our candidate ID number. That had it on there, and then where we're going to be sitting. It was 10 spaces, but it was only 7 of us in that 12:30 group. So 4 of the ladies were already in there. Another lady comes in, and this is after we've been waiting, and I guess to the 12:30 mark. When she comes in, there's no hello, no nothing. Of course, like I said, they're not speaking to us, so we don't know what's going on. We just sitting there. And all of a sudden, the lady walks in and she goes to the back and she's talking to them. And all of a sudden, she starts walking in the middle and she's speaking. Like she's talking, reading the NIC things and stuff like that. And it's like my mind had to regulate, okay, the test has started. Like she didn't say, hey, how you guys doing? Welcome to, no. She just started reading and I had to register, oh, the test has started. And that's when it began. So when the first half, which is the manicure setup and the manicure and polish, I was very hyped. I was like, okay, I got this. You guys, you know they give you times, okay, when you're getting down to the wire. So, of course, with the setup, 5 minutes, you got 5 minutes remaining. Okay, boom. I already had everything set up. I'm done. Came down to polishing for the manicure. I don't know what came over me, but when she said 10-minute mark and I literally hadn't even put base coat on, I began, my nerves got the best of me and I began to shake. My hand began to shake, you guys. And I was so nervous. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I started getting a little nervous and I started praying like, okay, God, I need you to calm my nerve. I was like, okay, but just keep pushing, keep going through it. And that's something that I kept hearing my teacher say. Just keep going. Just keep going. But I was praying. I was like, Lord, please calm my nerve. Because my hand never shakes when I'm polishing or when I'm doing anything. I never shake. And I felt so when I felt my hand start shaking, I began to pray. Because I was like, oh my gosh, this is no. So I got through that. Was able to do that. Then, of course, the next portion is tip blend. Come to tip blend. And my nail tip didn't want to stick. Like, literally, the glue was not sticking. And that's Young Nails. And I always rock with Young Nails. But, of course, I love KDS. I'm not going to lie. I use KDS on my clients all the time. But I do like Young Nails. But it was not sticking. And finally, I got it to stick and had to hold it to blend it. Got that portion done. Boom. That was finished. Then it comes to sculpting. Y'all, I was being tested during the test, okay? But God was in the midst, okay? Because when sculpting came around and I was putting that foam on the nail, I got it on the first time. Everything, you know, I had a little issue because it still has some, it's a plastic hand, so it still has some from the massage, some lotion from the massage. So I had to try to wipe that off as much as I could. Then sculpting comes. I sit the nail down, letting it dry. Y'all. 10-minute mark. Oh, Lord. I got to get this nail sculpted. I go pick the nail up to, remove the form. The tip falls off. It detaches. So now I have piece of acrylic on this form and the rest of the acrylic on the nail. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So now I'm fighting through forms to try to get this to work. I went through 5 forms trying to get this tip to get back on because you're only working on that one finger. Whatever finger they assign you, that's the finger you're working on. So I get the tip back on the 5th try and I'm trying to sculpt it. Run out of time, y'all. I literally had to stop. Like, I still had the form sitting on there and waiting because now I'm not able to finish. I can't even shape it. None of that. I just gotta let it because it's not dry. Because I fought with it. And they were watching. Of course, they walk around and not saying anything to you. They're just there. So, that part didn't finish. Now it's time to remove your scope. I don't have a scope. But I still got the acrylic on the nail. So, you have to work with what you have. So, I take the foam off and begin my process of filing the acrylic off the nail. Because the tip not working. So file it off and I take it off, rehydrate everything, and of course we soak it. And at the 10-minute mark, that's when you begin to buffer, like not buffer it, but scrape off the excess, then begin to file and then buff, then rehydrate the nail. And I finished that part. Then of course it's blood exposure. Blood exposure was a breeze. It was easy. But all in all, guys, I felt like when I walked out there, because they said, I thought we normally get the paper, because I've seen people get papers when they finish. But she was like, okay, it's going to take about 24 hours for you all to get your results. So I'm like, oh my gosh, why is it 24 hours? Like, we normally supposed to get it when we're walking out, but that's neither here nor there. So as soon as I got in the car, my dad was like, what's that? I said, oh, 24 hours. Like, I'm so nervous. So now I'm in the car and I'm scrolling through. I'm like, no, what's going on? I had to get on the site, but I never went on the site on my phones, any of my phones. So I'm trying to trying to figure out what the site is. And I'm getting frustrated because I'm like, okay, how do I go to the portal to check? Even though she said 24 hours, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to wait. I just want to see if it even uploads, because I know they had a computer behind me in the back. So I finally, after a good, because we've been driving for about, at this time, of course I said it's an hour and 45-minute drive. So about 30 minutes into the, I finally figured out how to go into the site off my phone. And I looked and it said, I saw pass, and I was like, oh my gosh. I pass, y'all. Of course, they don't give us numbers. They only tell us whether we pass or fail. And I passed. So I am officially on the road for a license, and they just got to send my license in the mail. Like, they just have to send my license in the mail. Once I get my license in the mail, I'm going to officially say I'm official licensed nail tech. But I'm there. I'm here. God did this, y'all. Like, God did this. I've said it in multiple videos in the past. That was not my idea of my life, to do nails. But here I am. This is the journey God has put me on. I don't know where He's taking me with it, how far I'm going to go, or what He's doing with me in this. But I'm just following suit, y'all. But I will go into more detail with everything. If you guys have any questions or anything, let me know, especially if you're beginning nail tech and you're starting your journey. You're more than welcome to ask me any questions. And of course, the product reviews are going to continue. But I'm going to go eat my lunch, y'all. My next client will be here in about 30 minutes. And I'm hungry. But make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys later.